Welcome to Bravo with Sheila. How's everyone doing out there? What's happening with all you wonderful people? I am so happy to be here yet one more time with you. You know how we do it. We just take that right hand or that left hand and we give ourselves a bravo just because. And we do not need permission because I said so. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Bravo with Sheila. We are here tonight to celebrate someone and put a spotlight on this wonderful, beautiful sister who has written this incredible book. I tell you, it's going to be a really fun night. Just her sharing with us. You know how we monthly, sometimes we'll spotlight people. Tonight, we are spotlighting this beautiful sister, and she's going to share with us. I found this show is going to be something because it's going to talk about something that's dear to my heart. And I was thinking about talking about this topic, right? But I couldn't lend anything to it too much, not a lot of conversation to it. And I'm so happy that I was introduced to her. And she's going to share with us from the cup of her life and how she has been blessed to be raised by two grandmothers, right? I'm telling you, we are going to have a great time. And we welcome her today to Bravo. If you're coming in, go ahead and hit that thumbs up so the algorithm can push, and shove and kick this information further out, not just in the YouTube streets, but just kick it out and move it out so that more people can come to this wonderful, and I say wonderful because many people say it's wonderful here, where we love on each other. We move you from pain to power, from power to victory, if that's what's needed. And we just have a wonderful time here at Bravo with Sheila, at the Bravo with Sheila Network. And tonight we have an incredible guest. Her name is FaShawn Washington. And we're going to bring her up to the platform in a moment, and we're just going to chop it up. And you know how we do. We flow. You know how we move in the chat. We invite anyone to come in the chat. Those of you up in the bleachers, up in the balcony, up in cyber, wherever you are, thank you so much for being here. Just hit that like button for me. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. We are doing something great tonight by spotlighting this wonderful lady. So before we even bring her to the stage, let's open up this show. Let's open it up with our opener. If I can find it. Here we go. And we are back. So before I bring this wonderful woman to the platform, to the Bravo stage, I just want to give you a little backdrop about her. You know me, I don't like to read the whole script on a person or their bio because I prefer for them to talk to you about themselves, right? But let me give you a little bit about her. She's an author. FaShawn Washington is a poet, a singer, a songwriter, and author of the new book, Things My Grandmothers Told Me, not my grandmother, singular, my grandmothers told me, a book of wise sayings and sound advice. She was born in a small rural town, and I'm going to let her tell you where she grew up and part of her life and what led her to write this incredible book about her grandmothers, right? I mean, some of us have had the opportunity to have grandmothers for a very long time. Some of us have had the opportunity to have our grandmothers for a short time, right? But those of you out there who still have your grandmothers or who can reflect on long, beautiful stories and wisdom that your grandmothers imparted to you, you are special and unique. And I'm so happy to bring her to the stage right now. I want y'all to give a wonderful bravo to FaShawn Washington. Hello, my dear sister. How are you?
I am fine. How are you, Sheila?
I am good. I am so happy. Thank you for accepting the invitation to come on the platform and chat with us a little bit about what is going on in your life and how segued from your heart, I'm sure, to write this wonderful book. But before we jump into the book, let me just greet the folks. They're saying hello. They're saying hello to you. We're going to put some comments up in a minute to show you how they are greeting you. And we have some folks up in, like I said, the bleachers, the high balcony, the low balcony, the orchestra, wherever they are. They don't have to necessarily be in the cheap seats. They might have a little orchestra seat. I don't know. But anyway, we welcome them. We welcome everyone here. I see my cousin Janice Walls is in the chat. Love you, cuz. And so tell us a little bit about you. Let's go way back. Let's go way back to your beginning, because your beginning was so influenced by your grandmothers. So share with us. I don't know who you're gonna talk about first, which grandmother first, but you know which one you're gonna start out with. But tell
Right.
us where you were born and raised, and then we'll segue into this chat.
Yes, and I would like to thank my family, friends for tuning in, for accepting this invitation, sort of like the last minute. So thank you all, and thank you for inviting me on this podcast.
Yes.
Yes, I was born in a small town called Utahville, South Carolina. It's between Columbia and Charleston. And I think most people have heard of Columbia and Charleston.
Yes.
At the age of 2, my mother, like a lot of mothers during that time, would leave their children with their grandparents to go to places like New York, Chicago, to look for work, and then send money back to support their child. So I was left with my maternal grandmother at the age of 2, but lucky me, my paternal grandmother lived within calling distance of my maternal grandmother.
Wow.
So I was able to run back and forth, and it was an exciting time. It was a good time. I had a very good childhood, even though I didn't realize we were as poor as we were,
Mhm.
because, they shield us from a lot of things that were going on around us. But yes, I had a pretty good childhood. And then I moved to New York at age 15 and have been here ever since.
Wow. So what was it like growing up in, how do you say it? Utahville?
Utahville.
Utahville. What was
Yes.
it like growing up in Utahville? You said it's kind of an offset from Columbia,
Mhm.
or Columbus or Columbia?
Columbia.
Columbia, right? South
Right.
Carolina. And and
Correct.
so what was it like for you in that time, in that era, growing up with your grandparents? How did they relate to you, and how did you respond and relate to them? Was it unusual, or was it something you saw in your community, a lot of children being raised by their grandparents?
It wasn't unusual, but there weren't, I would say there were more kids being raised by their parents than their grandparents.
Hmm.
Um, but at the time, you're kids, you're not thinking about this is
Right.
your grandparents and your parents is not raising you while their parents are. You just don't think about that. But
Right.
at that time, it was segregated. The
Hmm.
schools were segregated. The churches were, which most are still today. Um, we lived within walking distance of the town where all the stores and
Hmm.
things were. So we weren't like out in the country where we needed a car to get
Mm.
to the stores. Um,
So it was
uh,
a small community. It was more family. From how what I'm hearing, it was a small community, and a lot of everyone knew everyone, or most people knew. Every, was it one stoplight or a few?
Actually, there wasn't any, but we did have stop signs. But no spotlight. It was actually a small community, a small
Uh,
town, but people actually cared and looked out for each other. It was close knit. The kids that live in your neighborhood were the same kids you saw in elementary school.
mhm.
We started meeting people from other communities when we went to high school. which was in another small town called Holly Hill.
Holly Hill. All
Holly
right.
Hill.
Let's give Holly Hill a shout out. Shout out to
And,
Holly Hill.
yeah, and Holly Hill was a little bigger than Utahville, but still a small town.
Okay, that's
Mhm.
interesting. It's just amazing how, life spins around and full circle, or we run into each other. You grew up, was in a whole different place and a whole different culture, than I or many other women. That's the beauty of meeting people and sharing with your life, what we've gone through and how we have likeness in certain similar situations, but at the same time, some abstract things where you can't even imagine, or you only can do is share and understand and embrace somebody else's beginning. And so I'm really grateful that you're sharing this, because your life was so different from city life, right? Your life
It
was
was.
like you were not exposed to a lot of things that happens for young people in a city environment, which cause kind of shapes you everywhere that you're raised. It shapes us. It shapes us, whether it's our grandparents, parents, or whoever's raising us. But as an individual, each year, each thing that we experience is shaping us. And so here we are as full-blown adults, and you have segue to, I mean, tell us now, when you came to you said you came to the city, to New York, right?
We moved here at when I was 15.
When you
We
was
actually
15.
visit during the summer. Um, I think I was like 12 the first time I came here, but we literally moved here at 15, and I did not want to come.
You did not want to come.
I didn't have a choice.
But you tell me why you didn't want to come. You just, had you heard rumors about the big city? Did you feel fear because you didn't know if you would adjust? What was it like for you? Because that's a very serious transition of life when you're 14, 15. You're still a teenager. What were you feeling with that move?
Well, everyone I knew was in Utahville. All my friends were there. It
Yeah,
was a carefree life. I mean, I could go outside and have to worry about locking the door or
yeah,
someone following me or kidnapping me. It was carefree,
yeah.
and I really loved climbing trees. I was like the best climber.
Oh my.
I could go all the way to the top and just sit and just watch the whole neighborhood.
Wow.
So it was fun. I enjoyed being in the South.
That I hear that a lot with people who have transitioned from the South to the big city, whether it's here, Detroit, wherever. When you move, it's a culture shock.
It
It's
is.
literally a culture shock. I mean, the adjustment period is very serious, because I've seen many people bring their children to the big city, and the adjustment wasn't as the parents or the family thought it would be. They get exposed to different things they've never been exposed to. They get curious about certain things. They wind up with the wrong people. They're green as grass, right? Just green,
Correct.
green, green. Like, don't have a clue about anything. So that culture shock.
It is. But moving to New York, it wasn't a bad experience. It was just different.
Okay.
Um, so when I moved here, I actually lived with my biological mother and my
Mhm.
stepfather, my sister, and two brothers.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was a big apartment on the west side of 117th Street.
117th Street, Harlemite, you are? Well, I
Yes.
grew up on 115th Street. How about that?
Okay, Morningside Avenue.
Lenox Avenue.
Okay, same neighborhood.
Yeah, I grew up by the park, right there by the
Uh,
park.
yes.
We were neighbors.
Yeah, we were. I remember my first experience. I used to take my younger sister and brother to the park, and I decided that we were going to climb that mountain in the park.
Yes.
And we got halfway up, and I looked down. It was frightening, so it was too frightened to come back down. So we had to go all the way up, and then took the stairs back down.
Yeah, I know those steps, and I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Harlem in the house in there. Yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. So people are greeting you, saying hello. They're saying, hey, Anae is greeting you. Hey, at FaShawn Washington.
Hi.
Cousin Janice is saying, hello, everyone. Everyone is here. And they says, absolutely wonderful here. She has a good time. She is always here. She, have that ride or die one. That one, she's that one. Although the
Okay.
rest of them in the chat are always here too. But it could be me on my Christian channel or this one. And she's the first one in the room. She's right there hanging with me, supporting and encouraging me, such as most of them that are in the chat that are here. They're always finding a way to get to me. We have someone here that's saying hello from Omar. Do you know this person?
Yes, I do. Hi, Amar.
Omar, welcome, Omar. Welcome,
Hey, thanks
welcome.
for tuning in, Amar. Yes.
Wait, Ane is funny. She
Mm,
says they turned Lennox Lounge into a bank.
yes, they did.
What you know about the Lennox Lounge? Too young. What you know about that? So let's talk about Harlem. Growing up in Harlem wasn't that bad, right? It
What?
was. Oh, wait a minute. I think you have another guest in here. Is
Oh,
this
out
you?
there.
All
Out there.
right.
Yes.
Welcome, welcome. We welcome you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. So Harlem was jamming and going at that time. It was a lot going on. It was a lot of music going on. It was a wonderful time. So you were in Harlem. You're 15. What school did you decide to go to? Was it in Harlem or were you bussed out? Because they were bussing people out too at that time.
And no, I actually went to Brandeis Annex.
Oh, you
And
went to the
at
annex.
the annex, they later changed it to Martin Luther King, but I went to the annex and then to the high school.
I went to Brandeis as well.
Oh, you did?
I sure
Okay.
did. I sure did. I graduated from Brandeis.
So did I. Okay.
Oh, all right.
Small world.
Small world.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. So now you're in Harlem. You're growing up. You're going to school. You're doing things. And now let's talk about your book. And then after we talk about your book, I want you to tell us about your poetry. I want you to tell us about your music. You just got so many creative branches in you. God really packed you up really well. So let's talk about how what was it that prompted you to write this book about your grandmothers? And tell us about each one of them in their own personality.
Okay. My maternal grandmother that I actually lived with, um, she was a little more stricter with me because I lived with her, so she had to be. She had her own kids that she was raising at the time, plus three grandchildren.
Mm,
So kudos to her.
yeah,
That was
bravo.
a big job. But,
Bravo to her.
yes, at the time you don't realize it until you have to do the same thing,
True,
except with your kids or
true.
some with grandkids. Kids. She was the mother of eight.
Mm,
By that time, five had already left home, so it was three plus three. So there was six of us in the house. She was a little more, of a disciplinary, again,
mm-hmm,
because she had to be, but very loving, had a
mm-hmm.
lot of wise sayings and advice, which you don't realize at the time how you really needed those things. And as kids, you just don't get it. But as I grew older, I realized everything that she told me was true.
Right, right.
My father's mother, which was again in calling distance, she didn't discipline me as much because I didn't live with her. So we did a lot of traveling together, mostly walking because she didn't have a car. We would leave early in the morning and walk for miles to see other relatives. And she was a very outgoing person, very
Okay.
caring, loving, as my other grandmother was.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't change my experience for anything in this world.
So you had the best of both worlds. You had two grandmothers that
Mm,
influenced your life greatly. Now, the grandmother that you said kind of had you on lock is because she experienced so many things with her eight children. And so she had been tested and she understood and had experience, with raising children, and you're female. And what would you think? well, now today, with grandmothers, we have so many young grandmothers. I was a young
Right.
grandmother, and I believe that I missed a lot of jewels that I could have passed on because I had my children so young. And so there is a blessing to have a seasoned, mature grandmother. And not only that, you were in this very small town with no street lights but stop signs in South Carolina, which is a
Mhm.
whole different element and a whole different experience in growing up. So one grandmother was the fun one, who would take you and walk, and you probably got away with more with her than you did with the one that you actually was living with, right?
Correct. 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 Yeah. But the other grandmother, she didn't let me do things that I shouldn't be doing. Even though she was not the primary disciplinarian, I didn't just get away with stuff. Back then, anybody could discipline your child, actually.
Back then.
Back then, and you didn't get in a fight with the mother. It was appreciated. It's
Exactly.
a little different now. You have to fight the
No, it's a lot.
mother,
It's a
the
lot
whole
different.
family.
The whole family, right?
Yeah, you got to fight the whole family.
You
But
dare to even say something to someone's child now. I remember growing up, and now we just found out you were 2 blocks from me when we were growing up. But I knew we had those particular parents that were right there, and they would look out the window or they would say something. And as soon as I saw them, I knew that, I had to check. Not that I was not really a bad kid or did anything,
right.
but I'm talking about the community, how the community really covered all the children. And you'd be like, oh, they're gonna miss such and such. I had a friend whose mother stood
Hmm.
in the window from morning. I don't know how she did it, but she would
Right.
stand in the window on the
Mhm.
second floor from morning to evening, just looking out the window. And we always knew that Miss Young was looking out the window, but and
Right.
she would know everything, right? And
Of
so you
course.
are
Of
so
course.
correct now. And I think that is kind of a problem now, that there are no reins or no respect, right,
That's the
for
problem.
elders. There's no respect because, again, we said a lot of our young people have young mothers, and they didn't really get the discipline or the jewels to pass to their children. So it's this cycle. But you were so blessed. That's why I thought it was so wonderful to have this conversation with you, for you to be raised by two grandmothers. Now, this book, tell us what's in the book.
Okay. The book really pays homage to my grandmothers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it tells a little about their life. And of course, we're talking the 60s,
Mm-hmm.
and the things that they went through during the time of segregation is much different than what we're going through.
Yes.
And the book was written so that we could hopefully pass some of this down to our children, because I think that they are missing a lot of how to respect themselves, and others. You
I
can't
agree.
respect others if you can't respect yourself.
Correct.
And
Why don't you
that's
share something, read to us, give us some of this wonderful jewels that you have from these two incredible women.
okay. One of my favorite, and this one, it's under the faith. The
Okay.
first chapter is faith,
Mm-hmm.
and it says, "Be thankful. Thank God for what you have."
Mm-hmm.
And it just basically says, Mama advice to me: be grateful for what God has already given you. There are some people in the world who have much less than you have.
Yeah.
So be grateful for what you have. Don't steal, or don't take other people's stuff so you can have more when you already have more than a whole lot of people in this world.
That's good. That's good
So,
wisdom. Yes. keep
um,
keep going.
okay. There's another one. It says God gave us free will, which really means that we decide what we're going to do. And once you decide what you're going to do, you have to take responsibility for your own action because for every action, there is a reaction.
Mhm.
So you can't blame other people for decisions that you made.
So true.
So that was one of their advice. And
Okay.
I've taken it to heart where if I decide to do something, I'm not going to blame my mother or my grandmother or my neighbor. No, it was my decision. So I have to take no responsibility for that.
Yes.
And the next chapter in the book is rules to live by.
Okay.
And it basically say you are who you think you are.
Hmm.
So if you think that something is not correct, can I actually just read
Sure.
what it says?
Sure.
Okay, it says, my mama, which I call my maternal grandmother, I called her mama.
Okay.
My paternal, I call her either Miss Tracky or Tuda. Tuda's what everyone else calls her. And sometimes
Okay.
I switch back and forth. But
Because your
it's
maternal grandmother had you from the age of 2
my maternal. Yeah, my
for
maternal.
the age of 2. Okay.
But I was with both of
Both
them.
of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it says she believed that God created only one of her and that God smashed the mold. Okay, Mama said, if you believe you are made in God's image, then that's who you are and you're worthy of his grace and mercy. If you believe that you are something that the world tells you you are,
Mm.
that's who you are. So always believe that you are made in God's image. He did not make anyone better than you, and He didn't make you better than anyone else. We are all equal in God's sight.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That's good.
Yeah, and let's see. The Is there any questions? Or you want me to continue with the book?
Okay, I want you to continue with the book, but I do want to let you put some not questions, well, questions. I don't know. I'll see if some questions are there. But
Mm,
Julie Johnson is saying hello all,
yeah,
and Kim Bragg. My grandmothers had so much wisdom that they shared with me. That's a blessing. That is such a
yes.
blessing. That's a blessing. And
Mhm.
Julie Johnson is saying beautiful pearls of wisdom. And then another comment is that's good stuff. You are who you think you are. That is powerful. It sounds like, oh, I heard that before. No, that is powerful because what you think is really what shapes your mindset to be what you need to be to yourself and to others. You know, and many times our mindset is shifted to negativity based on what people say. So if you let things get into this ear canal, then things are offset. So really, your grandmothers are spot on. Uh,
Right.
and okay, we can take a pause to answer this question.
Mhm.
Can I get the book? Where can I find it? How about giving people your handle now, and then we'll continue on with the chat. But tell people where they can get the book.
Okay, the book is on Amazon and it's under FaShawn Washington. And of course, the name of the book is Things My Grandmothers Told Me. It's a book of wise saying and sound advice. It has a yellow cover. I don't know if you could see this,
Yeah,
but
hold it
this
up a
is the
little.
book.
Yeah.
This is the book. Yes. And another wise saying
Mm-hmm.
is when you eat. Can I just back up a moment?
You can do whatever you want to do. Go ahead. It's your spotlight.
There are 20 categories and
Okay.
188 wise sayings and sound advice. So the book is full with wise sayings and sound advice.
Nice.
Mhm. Now, another one says, when you eat unattended food and drinks, do not leave your food or drink unattended. She said that someone could drop something in it that could harm you or even kill you. So either take it with you or leave it with someone you trust. And if that's not possible, when you come back, just throw it out.
Makes
And
sense.
yeah, people do all kinds of stuff. That is one that I hold dear. I do not leave anything unattended that I will consume. And no
Mm,
one should do that. They really should.
yeah, I agree with that. I had a friend who left a drink, and a friend was standing there but not really paying attention,
Mm,
and she lost her mind. She never came back, because of whatever was dropped in her drink.
mm,
And so, that's extreme, I know, but it's reality, right? So I think that was a good one from Grandma. That one was good.
yes.
In other words, if you leave it and come back, just trash it and start all over again.
If you can't take
If
it,
if you can't,
exactly.
if you
Exactly.
can't.
You go into the bathroom, you can't take your drink with you. Just trash it.
Just go ahead and trash it. Look at this comment here. This is a good one here, sis. I'm here with my uncle working on the family tree. Very good. Very,
Okay.
very good. Okay, go ahead. Continue.
Yeah. And I also believe these stories should be told. Um, Wise sayings and sound advice, they don't change because the time changed. There are certain things that just morally right,
True.
and it doesn't change, and it just doesn't. This one says, have your keys in your hand. Don't wait till you get to your
Mm,
doors to fumble through your purse looking for your keys. By the time you find it, someone could have snuck up on you, and
so
that's the
true.
issue. When you get to your door, be ready to put that key in before you turn it. Look behind you. Make sure there's no one there.
That's true.
Then you
Because we
walk
get
out
that's
in
true.
safety. Hmm.
Because we get very laxed, and we don't think about, especially if we're walking alone.
Correct.
Prepare yourself. She's saying prepare yourself for where you're walking into. Don't get so comfortable because it's home that you think you're safe. You're not safe until you get in. That's good. That's
Hmm.
good. I started doing that some time ago because one time I just felt uncomfortable, and now I'm fumbling. And as I'm fumbling, I'm not moving the way I should be moving. I should already
Right.
be ready. Makes
Hmm.
sense. Makes
Get
so
to
much.
that door, stick the key in.
There you go.
Yeah.
Here's a salute to you, a bravo to you. So proud of you, sis. Continue living your dreams supreme. That's from M.E. Simmons. You have some
Okay.
wonderful people
You.
supporting you tonight. Bravo to them. And we have another message here, another thing in the chat here that says a very good read, says all these good tidbits are so true. All right, you guys got to pick this book up. I didn't get a chance to read it, but I'm going to purchase it and read it. This was a quick interview on the spot. We did this in a couple of days, didn't we?
We
I was
did
like, oh
it.
no, 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 God, let's do this. Let's do this. I was so excited.
Yes.
So excited. Okay, carry on. Go ahead.
Um, this is also in the book, but I have walked these streets of New York City and I see people walking from the train all the way to their destination and do not look behind them not one time.
Hmm.
That's a no no. You have got to look behind you because you don't know if somebody's following you. I have caught people following me a couple of times, and when they noticed that I noticed,
Yeah,
they changed their mind. So you have to look behind you. It's in the book,
absolutely.
but I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to say that. But
Yeah,
yes,
that's a good one.
please look behind you. Okay, this one is under love and relationship.
Okay.
And it says, do what's better or best for you.
Wait,
When
wait,
you
wait, 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 wait. Say that again.
doing what's best for, doing what's best for another. There is one that's doing best for you, but
No,
this
that
one,
like no, but what you said was so powerful. You was like, okay, wait, 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 repeat that. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
uh, this one is when you care for someone, we want the best for them, but we also want the best for ourselves. So Mama said it may hurt sometime to put someone else's needs before your wants, but it
Mm.
is the right thing to do. So there's a difference between needs and wants. You know, I might want a BMW, but
Do you need it?
you need a suit. So who gets what?
Yeah. Wow. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So put someone else needs before your wants.
That's a big one
Hmm.
because I find that people find that hard to do sometimes. Because when I think that a lot of times we can be selfish instead of selfless.
Correct.
You
As a matter
know,
of fact, I have a song called Selfish People.
really. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
it's all about you and it's never about me. That's how the
Mm,
selfish people are.
yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Carry on.
Okay, then it's love thyself. And it's basically says everyone is created equal. God created every human being in his image, and his spirit lives within all of us. When his spirit leaves, we die.
Mm,
Therefore, never walk around believing that anyone in this world is better than you, regardless of what they have, or that you are better than someone else because of something they don't have.
mm.
We are all children of God.
Listen, you got so many jewels in that little town or wherever you was living with your stop signs, right? You got so many jewels that when you did transition to New York City, you were packed with wisdom. You were
Yes.
you had an overload of sayings that could come up at any moment when you were confronted with something in the big city.
Yes, and it was very helpful. It kept me from getting into stuff. I, of course, as a young person and a teen, I would go to that middle line, but I wouldn't cross it. I was too afraid to cross that line.
You
So,
heard those voices.
yeah, so it kept me straight. It really did. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
blessing. What a
it
blessing.
it's looking back at it, I realized,
Oh,
thank you.
you
Kept me.
came up with ammunition. You came into this
Mhm.
big city with and look, God is so awesome because in that time growing up and getting all these jewels from your grandmothers, right? It was preparation for where you were headed, right? Because he is the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega and the in between. And sometimes we don't understand why we're in a certain place at a certain time, why we're going through something or why we can feel something. But as we travel down and stay the course, we bump right into purpose. We bump right into the purpose of why we were going through or all that your grandmothers gave you. I mean, you gave so much, they gave you so much,
They did.
as a young girl. And that's why really wanted to talk to you because I didn't have my grandmothers for a long time. I remember I was 10, I think, or 11 when she passed away, and I had my father's mother who was in Rockingham, North Carolina, and I would beg my mom to let me go on the train by myself. I was the one who was the wildflower. I would have the independent one, and she
Right.
would never want me to go, but I would go and I would sit with her, and it was the best time sitting with her. But then being in New York, and of course, most people in the South, they don't want to transition to New York. They want to stay right
Now,
where they are. They don't want to come to no big city. And I
yeah.
missed my grandmother, right? And then my mom's mom passed away very young. So I never had that input. I never had that hug. I never had those things that you're sharing. That's what I'm saying. It's a blessing for anyone who still has their grandmother or had some great experiences with their grandmother because those jewels, had I had some, I might not have, went astray on some of the ways that I did because that data would have pulled up or that voice, or I could have gone to my grandmother and had a talk of wisdom. So I just want you to know, I know you know how blessed you are, but from a person who has not had what you're talking about, know that it is absolutely a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience. Let's put this comment up. Uh, Let's Talk Live says, at E for Sean Washington, I've always told my daughter to never accept any food or drink if you haven't seen it prepared or don't trust the source. The mouth is the gateway to the inside to guard it. That is so true.
That's true.
Good
Abs-
advice.
Absolutely.
Good advice. And
She
here's
gave,
enough.
go
No, go
ahead.
ahead. No, 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 you go.
Now, I was going to say she gave some good advice. She really did.
She said,
Yes.
Mama always said, common sense is not so common. You know, you got that right.
It
you,
is.
you got that right. Give us a few more, and then I want you to segue into your poetry to tell us what you know when you started writing poetry and when you started doing music. And I mean, you just packed. God just packed you with all kind of creative branches inside of you.
And I'm just waiting for him to let it explode.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Okay, this one is never give up. It's never too late.
Okay.
Some people think when you're out of your 20s and your 30s, life is over. But suppose you live to be 80 years old. What are you going to do for the next 40, 50, 30, 20 years?
Yeah.
So it says once you realize that you're doing something incorrect, do not continue doing it. You can always choose to make positive changes. When we admit that what we have been doing is wrong, it demonstrates humility and the potential for growth and open the door for changes. So if
Mm-hmm.
you know you're doing something wrong, admit it. Just be honest and say this is not the way it should be and change. That's
Yeah.
growth. That is growth in itself.
Yes. And humility.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, this one I like.
Go ahead.
You can treat uh, old dogs can learn new tricks. If you keep an open mind, an old dog can learn new tricks. If you're free and is willing to learn, never stop learning, keep growing. The world will not change, will not stop changing just because you stop learning. So you have
Mm-hmm.
to keep learning.
That's good. Keep learning.
Because the
Yeah.
world is not going to stop changing. So
You
here's
might as well do something.
you have to keep up. Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Bravo to all of that. Oh my God, I'm going to get this book. And one day you're going to sign it for me.
Yeah.
And I know many people in the chat are going to get this book, and I know that God's going to push it because it's unique and it's needed, you know, in terms of this wisdom that's locked inside. And like you said, there's so much in there. How many? You said 100 and what was that number?
20 chapters and 188 wise sayings and sound advice. That's,
Wow.
I would love to get it into the hand of young people. I
Yeah.
really, that was one of my motivations for writing the book, aside from honoring my grandmothers.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think that, you know, talking to principals, and sometimes when you go to the Board of Education and you have something that they can put on the shelves of students. Now, today, you know, before you couldn't break through and put certain things in the school system. Well, they're putting so much other garbage in the system, you know, today. I think that, you know, you writing a letter to the Board of Education or some schools, inner city schools, have a meeting with the principals, see how you can go in and adopt a class. I remember I worked in the city and I adopted a class, and I had the insight of going in, and I had that class for 2 years.
Wow,
And
amazing.
yeah, and I had a team of girls that I was training, and we would go in and we would teach them and talk to them. And each year we had kept them for 2 years, but the principal was game for it. She was like, yeah, we need this because our kids are out of control, and
Yeah.
come on in. And so because we've got the green light, so don't think that there's a block there. You can always find a way to get in. You can also, you know, go to the library and read to the children and have certain, there's all types of creative ways that you can create a platform for you to take this book and get it in the head and into the heart and souls of the young people. all the nonprofit organizations, the after school programs, right? They have certain parts of after school programs where it's designated, like when it's homework time, they could slot you in to have that kind of conversation, right afterwards. There's all kind of ways to wiggle your way in because this book needs to be in the hands of young people. They need to
Yeah.
hear. They need to really hear this. These are sayings that they probably never will hear. Because again, we talked about a lot of young people have young children, so they didn't get it, so how can they pass it? So then the young children have children, and I'm not saying all of our children are like this. I'm not saying that inner city
Absolutely.
kids, are like this. I'm saying not, I'm talking not in a general sense. I'm just talking in terms of what we know exists and what we know our children need, right? So I
Right.
think this is awesome. I think it's wonderful. I know something. I'm a segue now. E.
Mhm.
FaShawn was a semi-finalist in the National Library of Poetry competition for her work, I Don't Judge a Man by the Color of His Skin. She is also a prolific artist songwriter. Aoife Sean's songs can be found on YouTube, Spotify, and many other streaming music platforms. Tell us a little bit about your this wonderful the National Library of Poetry competition. What was that like? That's a big bravo, bravo. I wish my bravo button was working. I wish my claps were working. I don't think the people can hear my claps out there. Something is wrong.
Yes, it was a national poetry contest, and I came in as one of the semifinalists. And like you mentioned, the name of the poem was "I Don't Judge a Man by the Color of His Skin," because I love the skin I'm in.
Mhm,
And it just, went on saying all the positive things. I don't judge a man by the way he wears his hair
mhm.
because I can change the texture of my hair, the styles that I wear, and do it with flair. I
Mm,
don't judge a man by his house on the hill because I da 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 da.
I like
But
that.
it's a lot. A poem. As a matter of fact, I read it at an opened poetry mic about 2 months ago.
Oh,
And this lady came up to me. She said, "I really enjoyed that. Do you realize that that's a children's book?" So it's like, no, I did
oh,
not. So that kind of opened me up to really look at it as a children's book,
absolutely.
because shouldn't go around just judging based on superficial things or things that
Absolutely.
we see, get to know the person for who they are. And
Yeah, I hope that you take heed to that. And, that was a download from the Lord. God will send people just to say certain things to put a fire under us, to poke us. God is a poker.
correct.
He'll just poke and say, I'm sending a little message so that because the work was absolutely honored. And so just take it to the next level. That's just the beginning of where that will go. I
I
believe that.
actually started it
Good for
already.
you. Bravo.
Yeah, I actually
Good
started.
for you. Let's see. We have a comment here. And she says, we learn from the cradle to the grace. Let's learn the lessons. Least we repeat, lest we, oh yeah, we repeat them. We got to learn the lessons. We don't want to be repeating and repeating and repeating.
Right.
So tell us a little bit more about your poetry. Are you still writing? I know you did where was that event? Was it in New York that you did
Uh,
2 months ago?
yes, it was at the Two Sisters bookstore
Oh
on
yeah.
155th in Amsterdam.
Yeah, I know where they are.
It's a great event. They have it every month.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it was.
That's awesome. They are good with promoting and allowing you to come in. I know when I
Mhm.
finished my book, they gave me a date and a time to come in and to do a reading or whatever. Something happened where I didn't make it or something happened. I can't remember exactly what, but they are definitely community, definitely there to support new upcoming authors and the community people. I really, really think that they're great. So
Right.
what's new? What's going on now? Tell us about your music and then tell us what's coming down the line for you and what your heart is to do at this point.
Okay, the music, I started that. Actually, I started writing music kind of accidentally. I woke up one morning and I was singing this gospel song guiding me through my day. I had the melody, the words, and I was singing the song. So I had a copywritten, threw it in the closet, and I just kept writing stuff, copywriting them, and throw them in the closet because I never thought about singing them.
Right.
And I moved to Atlanta, and I decided to go in the studio,
Hmm.
and I did a little recording there. But with most artists, we think things are just not good enough to release them.
Oh, we're very critical of ourselves.
Yes, so that went on for years. And while I was there, I actually started writing gospel. Most of my songs are gospel,
Okay.
but it was this group that asked me to write some R&Bs. So then I started writing R&Bs, and I think where I really got off the track was recording R&Bs instead of gospel. This is my judgment. Because I started with the gospel,
Right.
and I think I got off track at that point. So, and then I had someone approach me to write a reggae song, and
Oh,
someone
wow.
approached
Okay.
me, which I did. You are the man of my dreams. You are the man that I need. I wanna be with you. So that was the reggae song. And then someone approached me to write a blues song.
Oh my goodness, all these genres, huh?
I know these
It's
genres.
awesome though.
I enjoy. I mean, writing it just comes really easy. I can look at you and write a song about you. It
Wow.
really comes easy. And I have some stuff out on YouTube, CD Baby. But again, I didn't push them. I did some videos, some clips. I'm not even in the videos, that kind of stuff. But I enjoy writing much,
Yeah, I
much
think
more
it's
than singing.
awesome. I think it's beautiful. I think it's awesome. Like I think we were talking backstage that doing music now is really different. The
It
industry
is.
is different.
Mhm.
I've been in the game for over 40 something years, from R&B to gospel. And that's my first profession, music. And I've been in the music business for a long time. Could have gone really, I mean, I went to some heights, but I could have gone further had I was, how can I say this in a tasteful way, had I agreed to do some
Yeah.
things, if you know what I
Exactly.
mean.
Mhm.
And I'm just not wired like that. I didn't want it that bad, I guess, because that's what well, you must don't want it. Yeah, I do, but not at the expense of me,
That's
you
right.
know. And
Yes.
so I continue. I didn't let that dampen me.
Mhm.
I told you I did some wonderful things, but now, the music industry is so different. So I would, advise you, and not advise you, but encourage you to continue to do your music. And now when I do music, right, and get preparing to do another EP, but now the goal is different. The goal is totally different. Number one, the industry, if you don't have hits, I mean, if you don't have a fan base, if you don't have a following, if everything is digital, everything,
Correct.
they size you up on how many hits you have in terms of clicks and hits, and they size you up on your fan base. How many do you have on your IG page? Do you have 5,000, 20,000, 50,000? That's why a
Correct.
lot of people
Mm.
in the industry now, young people, middle age, whoever, are still doing music. They're releasing their own independent. And I know of a few artists who really are, they're huge now by being independent artists that started on IG, started just singing on IG, and just blew up, right? Because the industry is it's a rough place to be in. And artists, if you don't have a push behind you, capital, and most people, like, you don't have to sign no label. I manage an artist, right? And he's moving and doing stuff. He's a clean rapper. We on this connected to the people called Clean Money Music. And there
Okay.
was a challenge for rappers to rap without cursing, and in Florida, and the rappers was like, nah, we'll never make it because we got to talk trash, we got to talk dirty, we got to call bees and this, that, and other. And we refused, and he refused to succumb to
Good.
that. And so we did a challenge in Florida for the rappers that are huge to go ahead and try to create some songs and rap some songs without cursing. And they did. And they was like, oh, this is dope. Da 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 da
Exactly.
da. So now they're moving and doing so much in the arena of rap. But again, they too are struggling because it's about your fan base. It's about, all of this. It's just different. The industry, I've always loved the art, but I've never really loved the business, right?
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
you're an artist, I'm an artist, so we have that passion in us. We were wired that way, so our gifts. So I would say go ahead and get back to whatever genre you want to get to, release a single or EP, 3 songs, and just do your thing. And my daughter told me, Ma, you've done so much, just release music for you now. And it made sense because it takes the pressure off of you. It takes the pressure
It's
over.
true.
Is the song moving? Is it being played? That's pressure. And
It
it made
is.
so much sense, right? So I would
Mhm.
really tell you, because I see that you really love your music. You write, and then with your writing, listen. You know how much money you get for writing. Writers make more money than the artists. So go
This
ahead
is
and keep
true.
writing and sending your lyrics to certain artists, gospel artists, and people that are out there, and just win with it. So I would say
Yeah,
that.
I think I will. Because
Absolutely.
I just can't get it out of my soul, out of my spirit.
Well,
It's
you
so
won't, because
hard.
God put it in you. It'll never leave us. Passion doesn't die,
This is
right? We can't
absolutely
exhaust passion. Passion speaks. Passion nudges. That's why we have to keep creating. And that's why I see what you're creating. I said, God packed you with the poetry, He packed you with music and writing, and you got a lot going on inside of you. So I wouldn't say to just think, oh, because I stopped writing the gospel, that I did the genre of reggae and this, that, and other. And that was a sidebar for you to see that you could write for different genres. Now, take that and go back to the table and just write those songs and get them out in the industry. They're looking for songs. I really would encourage you to do that.
I will. But you have done some amazing things. Now, me speaking with Sheila, you would think that I have known her for a long time. She's a very easy person to talk to. But I was amazed that she had done so much stuff, just traveling the world, singing and writing and acting and podcasting. Just so much. She's an amazing woman. And it was really great just meeting and talking with you. And
Likewise.
yeah,
Likewise, we are all queens. We are all amazing in our own right. It's just life continues to happen. It's, sidetracks us sometimes, and or we have to shift a little bit. But like you said, everything that's in us is not going to sleep. So why struggle with it? Just go ahead and release it. Go ahead and do it, whatever it is. Yeah, yes, I've done a lot. I've been a lot of places, been on many platforms, been in many rooms. But the bottom line is my love for people, and my love to see people grow and move from any place of brokenness is my heartbeat,
yes,
because there's so many people suffering in silence, and great, women and men who are suffering from a situation or anything that might have pulled on their soul, that's been, their soul has been harassed. So my goal and my heart is that people tap into that greatness and get healed and restored to the right place that they're supposed to be in, and release the thing that God has put in us, because it doesn't belong to us, right? We have to
correct.
deposit it. We have to let it go. We have to deposit it into somebody else's life. So I really am grateful that you accepted the invitation. You were easy. You're easy to talk to as well. We had a nice little time. And yeah, it does seem like we've known each other forever. But listen, we grew up in Harlem, 2 blocks away from each other,
True,
right?
true,
We
true.
went to the same high school. We just found that out, right? So listen,
Mhm.
we were right there, right there. So I
Correct,
thank
correct.
you so much. Tell us your handle. Tell us where we can find you. Hold that for a second. Let me put up a couple of comments for you. And oops, let's see what this is saying here, because I didn't read it. it is saying. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you for allowing my sister to tell her truth. This is my first podcast, and I will visit your show. Thank you so much, all of you who are here. Listen in the chat and up in the bleachers. You might be in an orchestra seat. I don't know. You might be on the second balcony. You might be inside. But wherever you are, you're here right now with us. I thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. I hope you hit that like button because it pushes the algorithm and it moves the show forward so others can see it. Someone's giving bravos to you. The bravo is to you, my sister. Tonight
Thank
we
you. Thank you.
spotlighted you. You are spotlighted E for Sean Washington. Give us your handle where we can find you. And as you continue on your journey, I want you to come back and give us an update on what you're doing. Is that okay?
That is perfect.
All right.
FaShawn Washington, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, um, IN, and where am I? YouTube, CD Baby. I'm all over the place. The thing is, and I really need to work on this, is getting on these sites. I have them up once in a while. I go on, but I need to work on that, and I will. Thanks
Yeah.
to you, Sheila. I
Yeah,
will.
do it.
Yeah.
Do it. And don't bombard yourself. Don't be overwhelmed. One thing at a time, right? Just
Yes,
start. If you just start, if you have a YouTube channel already,
I do.
oh, okay. So now you got to work that channel. You got to come on and just see what you want to talk about, what you want to say, your poetry, whatever it is that's in your heart, because we need like minded people in these YouTube streets. We need positive people that's going to help, influence and help other people to move forward. Let me put this comment up. Okay, this is she's saying, so proud of you, my sister, signing out to get on my prayer line. God bless you. Pray for us on the prayer
Yes,
line. Pray
please
for
do.
us. Yeah, yeah.
Thank
And
you.
then Julie Johnson says, EF for Sean Washington, thank you for bringing such an abundant gift to the world, a truly remarkable tribute to your maternal ancestors. Yes, 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 yes. Awesome, awesome woman here. So, yes, I want you to get on your platform and do your thing, whether you do it on IG or whether you do it in these YouTube streets. This have no fear. Just pop on, get your little stuff, and just do. Once you do the first and second, and you'll be surprised things to start to move. You have so much to give, so much.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for the advice. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
Yes.
Listen, guys, thank you so much for being here. Go out and get her book. It's on Amazon.com. I'm telling you, I'm going to run and get this book. I'm going to put a reminder because so much is in my head right now. And I got to do a little reminder for myself. But E for Sean Washington, you have been an incredible guest. We spotlighted you. We gave you your flowers tonight. We'll continue to do that. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing your grandmother's wisdom with us. And there's so much more that we need to tap into. So all of you stay right there. Don't move anywhere. Stay
Thank
right there
you.
as I close, okay? So all of you, thank you so much. All of you in the chat, all of you up there, I see you, I see you, I see you. Thank you so much. And you've been wonderful supporting this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful woman. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, when nothing changes, nothing changes. So what you got to do? What you got to do? I heard you. You got to keep it moving. You got to keep it moving. And my girl Ine has said, let's see what she put up before we leave. She is saying, now my computer is moving slow. Let's see. Oh, comments are coming in. That's why. She said this was awesome. Okay, that's what she's saying. So listen, let's close the show. Don't move. I want to talk to you backstage. All right, we're gonna close the show now. We're gonna do a soft close. How about a soft close? Let's do a soft close. All right, ciao, smooches. See you again. The end of the show, it messes up. That's okay. It's popping backwards and forwards. Here we go. Let's try one